November 23rd, 2006, Oakland, California, Thanksgiving Day. Just before 3 p.m., gunfire shatters the quiet at the home of Regba Barangazi. When the chaos subsides, 3 lives are tragically lost. Winta Mehari, her brother Jonas, and their beloved matriarch. But why would anyone target such a seemingly innocent family? The answer lies in the shadowy aftermath of Winta's husband's death and the chilling obsession of a brother-in-law who refused to believe it was from natural causes. This is the harrowing tale of Asmerom and Tewodros Gebreselassie, the Thanksgiving revenge murders. Hey, y'all, I'm Chris Calvert.
And I'm her husband, Rob Potter. Welcome to Hitched to Homicide.
For better or worse.
Till death do us part.
Welcome back, everybody.
Yes, welcome. And I have a special welcome today since we're on the eve of Thanksgiving for all of our friends over there in Turkey.
That's appropriate.
Hoş geldin, hoş geldin, hoş geldin.
That's great. Never leave you out of any joke to be made, sweetheart. You're there for it.
That's the ultimate podcast dad joke.
There it is. Well, wherever you're listening, be sure to subscribe to Hitched to Homicide. Then like, rate, and review the podcast so others who, like you, love true crime and can find us.
Yep.
And if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you want true crime with us all the time, please join our closed Facebook group, The In-Laws and Outlaws. Go to Facebook, type in H2H, In-Laws and Outlaws, answer a few questions, and you're in. You're going to see all your in-laws and outlaws tomorrow.
Yep.
Go join. I post photos and other information in there as well. We love those folks so much.
Yes.
You can also find us on Instagram at Hitched to Homicide or on X at H2H_podcast. And we also now have a Buy Me a Coffee link if you want to send Rob some coffee.
Please.
He's drinking it, does it every episode.
Love my coffee.
You can find that link in our show notes. You can also send us a text. The link to that is at the top of the show notes as well. And it says, send Chris and Rob a text.
Please do.
Well, this case, I wanted to do one more Thanksgiving case, and I just want to say from the get-go, I'm going to screw up some names. I just am. I'm going to do my best. I looked everything up. I've spelled it phonetically for myself, but I'm still going to mess it up.
Yep.
Before we get started, let me thank some sources. CBS News, The Mercury News, The Oakland Tribune, sfgate.com, The People vs. Asmerom Gebreselassie, ABC News, Channel 7 in the Bay Area of California.
Nice.
Heading to Cali.
All right. Well, you ready?
I am.
Well, let's do it.
In the early 1980s, East Bay, California was a place that many Eritreans moved, fleeing war and political turmoil in their own country. It was a 30-year struggle ending in Eritrea's independence from Ethiopia in 1993. And once they settled in the Oakland area, most were part of the North Oakland Eritrean Orthodox Tewolde Church.
Okay.
Winta Mehari is 20 years old when she meets 34-year-old Abraham Tewolde, and they were both in the country of Eritrea. Winta and Abraham are married in 2002. They have a son, Isaac, in 2004, and sometime in between 1998 when they meet and when they marry in 2002, they come to the United States and they live in the Bay Area where Abraham owned a tune-up shop on Broadway's Auto Row.
All right. So there was a 14-year difference? Is that what I heard?
There's a 14-year difference in their ages. That is correct.
Okay.
And Abraham is the glue between his family and Winta's family.
Okay.
Abraham and his brother, 42-year-old Tewodros, were already both well established in the United States. They worked really hard to ensure that Winta and her family could make the transition. and the Gebreselassie entrance into the United States.
Okay.
Also in the country is the oldest of the Gebreselassie family, Asmerom. Asmerom worked as a taxi driver in Las Vegas, and he is a loud, boisterous, opinionated guy.
He should be living in New York.
Maybe it's like your uncle that you're going to see tomorrow at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And I think that this is just my opinion, I think that because he was the oldest brother and he had a lot of influence, because he's the oldest, he has a lot of influence over his 10 other siblings.
Wow.
There are 11 of them.
Wow. Okay.
And when Winta's family and Abraham's family get together, they're very intertwined. Once Winta marries Abraham, these families are really intertwined.
Gotcha.
And apparently, when these two do get married, the family was shocked that Abraham had actually married Winta.
That's shocking.
It's shocking. But they all joined forces as one big family. And Abraham's family helped Winta's family to come to America.
Okay.
Abraham and his brother Tewodros were already well established. They worked hard. They wanted to make sure that her family could get there. And Abraham actually supplied the cash for visas and plane tickets. And Tewodros worked with the United States embassy officials in Eritrea to help them get their green cards.
Okay.
So it's very, I don't want to say incestuous,
Right.
but it's like one big happy family.
Sure.
But on March 1st of 2006, Abraham dies of what was presumed to be a heart attack. The coroner said the cause of death was unexplained. I believe it was in his sleep. Winta is devastated. His wife, she's devastated. She's only 28 years old, and now she's a widow with a very young son.
Wow.
And Abraham and Winta actually lived in Berkeley, California, on Russell Street.
So he was 42 when he died.
He was.
Okay.
Gosh, you're so good at math.
I are educated.
The Alameda County coroner couldn't determine the cause of death, just that it was an unexplainable natural death. And sudden death can be seen in all age groups. I looked this up, including infants, children, young adults, people who are elderly, advanced age, low or high body mass index. Doesn't matter if you're big or skinny. You could have hypertension, diabetes. You could have a sedentary lifestyle. You might smoke or have an unhealthy diet, or you could just be under stress. And those are all the risk factors for just sudden death.
I only smoke when I'm on fire.
I feel like I'm in that category. Sudden death in young adults is rare, with an incidence of 0.8 to 6.2 per 100,000 in the studies.
Okay.
And it's mostly cardiac events. And despite extensive and microscopic and macroscopic toxicology investigations, 5 to 10% of these cases are just going to be unexplained. And they're classified as sudden, unexpected death.
Okay.
And when the Alameda County coroner could only say it's a sudden natural death, Asmerom, the oldest brother, hired a private pathologist who also said, surprise, surprise, it was an unexplainable natural death.
Okay.
But Asmerom didn't like this explanation. This is the oldest guy who's rambunctious.
Right.
He grew more and more suspicious when he learns that just months before Abraham's death, before his brother's death, that he took out a $500,000 life insurance policy.
And who took out that policy?
Well, he took it out for his wife to be the beneficiary.
Oh.
Abraham did.
Right.
So Asmerom moves from Vegas. Remember, he's a taxi cab driver. Moves from Vegas to Oakland in order to search for clues.
Okay.
He starts digging through cell phone records, and he even goes to Winta, who is in bed and depressed because she's lost the love of her life and the father of her son, where he questions her incessantly while she's just despondent. I mean, that's a horrible thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she just lost her husband, and you got somebody badgering you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Asmerom believed that Winta and her family poisoned his brother Abraham to conceal, get this, her brother's homosexuality, which is a cultural taboo that would have brought great shame to the religious-oriented family.
Well, there's something I didn't expect.
He also thought that her family just flat out wanted the money. They wanted the $500,000.
Sure.
So in the summer of 2006, after he had gone to the Berkeley police, he goes to the Berkeley police and says, reinvestigate this.
Okay.
They come back to him and say, we got nothing.
Yeah.
We got nothing.
Yeah.
So then he goes to the life insurance company. You got to look into this.
Right.
This isn't real. And the life insurance company comes back and says, no, we've paid it out. There's nothing hinky here.
Yeah.
And if you know life insurance companies, they're going to turn everything inside out.
Absolutely.
Before they pay $500,000.
Yep.
And as you might imagine, when Asmerom is doing all of this stuff, questioning her while she's in bed, going to the police, going behind their back to the insurance company, trying to say, don't pay it out.
Right.
These two families split up, even though they all live in the same apartment complex called Keller Plaza.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
They live there. Their mothers live there. And Tewodros and Asmerom also get an apartment there.
Okay.
Told you, very entwined.
Yeah. Okay.
So Asmerom now not only believes that not only was one of Winta's brothers gay, but that this gay brother was sexually molesting Abraham and Winta's 2-year-old son, which, of course, there was no proof of this.
Right.
But it was almost like if he's gay, he must also be an abuser.
Right.
And he threatens the family. He says, I'm going to take it public. I'm going to our community. This is a huge community of people from their country who live in this same Bay Area. I'm going to all the people we know. I'm going to our church because they're all highly involved in this church.
Jeez.
And when he did actually go to the police, the life insurance company, and to the church, he was brutally rebuffed.
I can imagine.
So Asmerom decides he's going to prove that Winta's brother is gay on his own, and that's why they killed his brother, Abraham.
Okay.
So he sets up a fake profile online, trying to exchange emails with the brother that he believes is gay, and then he confronts Winta's family with his evidence and his trail of emails. And when he does this, he confronts Winta's brother at the local library in early November of 2006.
Really?
So Abraham dies in March, 1st of March.
Right.
And then his brother just goes on this tirade, sets up this fake account, trying to catfish the gay brother, right? And I never, in any of my research, did I ever see that anybody was gay.
Yeah.
Because not that it mattered.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any difference.
Doesn't make any difference.
No.
Yeah. But when he does confront Winta's brother, he does it at the local library at the beginning of November of 2006.
Right.
And these two start arguing in the library. And the librarian does what?
Shh.
She kicks him out. She's like, get out.
It wasn't like the ghost in Ghostbusters.
No.
Right.
But I mean, they're fighting loudly. They're like arguing in the middle of the library. And the librarian's like, get out, get out. And nothing comes of this. But by this time, Asmerom has convinced his remaining 9 brothers and sisters that he was right and that Winta's family had murdered their brother Abraham. So his brothers join him and meet with the community leaders and Winta's family. Okay. And meanwhile, Winta's devastated over the loss of her husband. In her online diary, she's writing that she wished she had told her husband that she loved him more often. I love you, sweetheart.
I love you too.
She also wrote that, quote, it is not fair what the whole family is doing to me. I never did anything to them, but God let the Lord of truth judge me, end quote.
Wow.
So all of this has been building up since March.
Right.
On Thanksgiving Day, 2006, it's November 23rd. Regby, Winta's mother, is hosting a Thanksgiving dinner in her little apartment in the complex at 5321 Telegraph Avenue, the Keller complex. Inside are 9 people, including 2-year-old Isaac. That's Winta and Abraham's son.
All right.
Also among the crowd is Winta's 17-year-old brother, Yonos Mehari, who was sitting at a computer desk working. Yonos was a beloved student at Berkeley High School, where he also played soccer. Of course, Winta's mother's there. It's her apartment. She's 50. She's very involved in their church. She's raised this huge family of kids and managed to get everybody into the United States.
Hey, good for her.
Also in attendance is Tewodros, Asmerom's 43-year-old brother, who was actually a software and app engineer in Silicon Valley before he moved back to Eritrea in order to start a university to help the younger kids in his country to gain tech knowledge.
Wow.
Sounds like a good guy.
Yeah.
He only moved back to California after Abraham's death. He knocks on the door, and they let him in. He is still welcome in their home.
Right.
Because he's not the brother who's causing all the problems.
Right.
He's being quiet.
Sure.
And after a while, after they eat and they actually sing Christmas carols by the piano, Tewodros makes 2 calls to his brother DeWitt. And the first one is at 2:47 p.m. It connected for 3 seconds.
Okay.
The second call was at 3:04 p.m. It went through and had a connection time of 0 seconds. But it's at this point that it's believed that DeWitt relays to Asmerom that the family is all there. They've all gathered in this apartment.
Oh, jeez.
And from what I understand, Tewodros unlocked the door so Asmerom, his brother, could make an entrance without knocking or being told to go away. Because remember, just a couple weeks beforehand, he's fought with her brothers in the library.
Right.
Now, Tewodros has said he didn't know what was about to happen, and maybe he didn't. But Asmerom walks into Winta's family's Thanksgiving and pulls out a Luger Car Arms 9mm pistol registered to his brother, Mulugeta, and fires 11 rounds.
Wow.
He fires at 17-year-old Yonos, and then at his mother, Regba, who goes to her son's aid, and then Winta, before Winta's other brothers are able to wrestle him down and get the gun away from him. And according to Winta's family, he just walked through the door and opened fire. Nobody threatened him. No one else in the apartment had a gun, only Asmerom. And we know this because Winta's brother, Mehari, witnessed Asmerom gun down his sister, brother, and mother.
Wow.
So Asmerom fired 11 bullets. And another brother of Winta's is shot in the ankle. And another, Asmerom Gebreselassie, he's 24. He jumped from the 3rd floor apartment that they were in.
Jeez.
And suffered a broken back.
Wow.
He lost consciousness. He's not going to know for a week that his whole family is dead.
Wow.
Another one of the brothers rushed into the street on Telegraph Avenue into traffic, begging for somebody to stop and call for help. Then Asmerom and his brother, Tewodros, they leave the apartment, but they take with them 2-year-old Isaac.
Really?
And they don't go far because they just go to their apartment in the same complex, just a few floors down.
Bless their hearts.
Now,
jeez.
Now, Asmerom was shunned from the Mehari family. They didn't want anything to do with him. He'd gone to the police, the life insurance company, the church. They'd all told him to accept the unacceptable, that his brother was gone, and no one murdered him.
Right.
But because he'd publicly accused Winta and her family of murder, they didn't want anything to do with him.
Right.
But again, Tewodros had never accused Winta or the family, and that's why he was allowed into the apartment on that Thanksgiving day.
Got it.
And what they're saying is he called another brother who then signaled to the killer, Asmerom, to come in and take care of business on Thanksgiving Day.
Right.
Winta's family calls 911. Police and EMS are on the scene. All 3, Winta, her brother, and her mother, are all dead. And little 2-year-old Isaac is officially gone. He's an orphan, and now he's gone.
Wow.
And after police enter this chaos of a scene, they go to find little Isaac. Winta's family's worried about what Asmerom will do to him. And they find Asmerom and his brother, Tewodros, holed up in their own apartment in the same building. And there is actually a standoff between them and the Oakland police and the Oakland SWAT team.
Jeez.
But eventually the two brothers surrender and bring out little Isaac. And from what I gathered in the newspaper articles I dug through, and there were a bunch, they went peacefully and handed over the baby without incident.
What? I mean, this makes no sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're in jail, and here's the deputy DA's stance on the whole thing. Her name is Jody Leventis.
Mm-hmm.
Asmerom and Tewodros planned the murders after they became frustrated that nobody could prove their brother Abraham was murdered by his wife, Winta.
Okay.
And Asmerom led the charge in trying to blame the Mehari family for the death of his brother, and he sought out an investigation by the Berkeley police.
Yeah.
And when that failed,
right,
and the life insurance company wouldn't do anything, he hired his own pathologist. I mean, he was just failing on all fronts. This is when he decides
he's going to take matters into his own hands.
To take matters into my own hands.
Yep.
I'm going to exact my own revenge. Now, Abraham's family couldn't accept that he died from natural causes when the coroner couldn't really list anything other than that unexplainable natural death. So these two have a preliminary hearing with Judge Robert McGinnis, and this preliminary hearing would last, get this, 6 months.
What?
And they met over 20 times.
What did they discuss?
Well, you might ask.
Wow.
What happened?
Yeah.
It's because Asmerom is acting as his own attorney.
Oh, boy, here we go.
Tewodros' attorney, Ray Pomhoff, tells the judge when answering for their charges of murder and kidnapping that his client was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. He didn't know what was about to go down, and he took the baby, the 2-year-old, away in order to protect him from gunfire. Quote, I swear to God, I did not open the door. I did not call anyone. End quote.
So how did the door get open?
Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit later.
Okay.
Meanwhile, out in the hallways of the courthouse, the families are fighting. As inside the court, Asmerom tells the judge that they pulled guns on him and he shot in self-defense. But when the judge ruled that they were going to be charged with murder, one, and kidnapping, and that they could both face the death penalty, Asmerom yells out, quote, it's all fixed. We know that. The judge is not fair. I am innocent. I am going to win, end quote.
Okay, whatever.
He and his brother are facing 5 felony charges, including 3 counts of murder, and they're holding Tewodros to the same as his brother who wielded the gun.
Wow.
Because according to the prosecution, he waited until all the family members were there, and then he called his brother, who then told the other brother, the killer, and had them unlock the door for Asmerom.
Right.
So the trial begins. There are 10 women and 2 men who have to sit for 4 months for this trial.
God.
4 months. Seems pretty open and shut, right?
Yeah.
DA Joni Leventis tells them it's a revenge kill.
Right.
And when Asmerom and his brother couldn't find a way to hold Winta and her family liable for Abraham's death, they took revenge and the law into their own hands and murdered Winta, her mother, and her brother.
Yeah.
They also had to listen to Asmerom over and over again. Quote, the truth is going to be exposed. The case you heard from the prosecutor is all fiction. They want to hide the truth and point me as a monster and a killer. I am not. They killed my brother after he found out that his in-law was gay, and they tried to kill me too, end quote.
Nice try, pal.
The problem with this is there were no other guns on the scene, no other gunfire. And according to Winta's surviving family, no one threatened Asmerom's life. There could be no self-defense case, right?
Right.
But still, Asmerom tells the jury that he will prove that he acted in self-defense when he fired. He told them that the case will prove that the Mehari family tried to kill him because just like her brother Abraham, he'd found out that one of Winta's brothers was gay. End quote.
Wow.
This jury has to be like, what the heck, man? Yeah. What is going on?
Oh, good Lord.
This is Asmerom again. Mm-hmm. Quote, "The sad thing is 3 people are dead." It's the only time he says this.
Okay.
"It is very sad, but that does not mean I have to die. I'm trying to defend my life," end quote. I mean, it's almost a comedy if it wasn't so sad.
Yeah.
He tells the jury that his brother was indeed in the wrong place at the wrong time and had nothing to do with it. And Tony Sarah, Tewodros' new attorney, agrees with this because his brother is smart enough that he wants an attorney.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So the new attorney is like, that's right. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
What he said.
Yes. Both brothers testify that the shooting happened after 2 of the Mehari brothers brandished guns. After Winta's 2 brothers brandished guns. Again, there were no guns in the apartment other than the ones that he brought in.
Right.
The brothers fled and everyone else was dead. And Asmerom Mehari, the brother who jumped out of the window, testified that Asmerom came into the apartment and yelled, quote, "Don't move," end quote. Then he first shot 17-year-old Jonas. Then Regba, his mother, came to her son's aid, and she was shot. And then he turned the gun on Winta. Mehari, I know, I'm sorry.
I thought my last name was hard.
This is one of her brothers.
Okay.
His name is Mehari, and Mehari is their last name.
Wow.
He witnessed these 2 gun down his brother, sister, and mother.
Right.
But according to Asmerom, quote, "The Mehari brothers who testified can't be trusted because they suffer from PTSD and are seeking revenge," end quote. They can't be trusted.
I'm really glad this guy's really not a lawyer.
Oh, my gosh. It's going to get better.
All right.
Asmerom says he never went to the apartment that day to kill, but to discuss his suspicions and to rat out the one gay brother. And once inside the apartment, he says the 2 Mehari family members, the 2 brothers, pulled guns as Asmerom shot them, firing 7 shots at Winta, her brother, and mother. So here's what I don't understand. He's saying that the brothers pulled the guns, but he killed the 17-year-old who was sitting at a computer desk. Mm-hmm. The mother, the 50-year-old matriarch, and Abraham's wife, Winta.
Yeah.
So who do you think he was really after?
Yeah.
There were only 2 guns that were recovered at the scene, and they both belonged to Asmerom and his brother. And when Sergeant James Morris, a detective with the Oakland police, took the stand, he said that Tewodros' story, quote, "didn't add up."
You think?
That's called foreshadowing.
Here we go.
Now, while Asmerom was on the witness stand for a week, he berated Superior Judge Vern Nakahara, the court staff, and the criminal justice system.
I'm sure that went over well.
While he was on the witness stand, he routinely ignored questions posed to him and instead shouted at the judge, the prosecution, complaining that he wasn't getting a fair trial.
Wow.
It's like, wah, I'm not getting my own way.
He went to the Walmart School of Law.
Quote, "People have been misled because the truth has been hidden from them. I would like them to know the truth entirely. They killed Abraham to hide the homosexuality. I didn't commit a crime. I have nothing to hide," end quote. So he's not even answering questions.
Yeah.
But that's not all that's happening. At the courthouse, this whole community and the extended families are there every single day.
Right.
They have to be escorted in with extra security, and they sit on opposite sides of the courtroom, almost like a wedding.
Yeah. Are you here for the deceased or the defendant?
Right, exactly. But they actually bring in East African food every single day to eat at lunchtime.
Wow.
And these families are shouting out during the trial from the audience.
What a circus.
The judge had 6 bailiffs and Oakland police and Oakland Housing Authority police present in the courtroom in case it got too out of control.
Good night.
Now, when Tewodros took the stand, he was calm and quiet. He's the one who just unlocked the door.
Right.
And while his brother is shouting that Abraham was murdered by his own wife and her family, Tewodros is saying an outsider killed Abraham in order to get the $500,000.
Okay.
Does he not understand how life insurance works?
Yeah.
It only goes to the beneficiary.
Wow.
But when he is hit with the fact that his cell phone records show that he called minutes before the shooting to his other brother, who relayed this message to Asmerom that they were all present, he said, "My nephew was playing with my phone. It wasn't me."
Oh, man.
Finally, after outburst after outburst, Asmerom is banned from the courtroom.
There you go.
He gave a 10-minute speech accusing Judge Nakahara of not running a fair trial and allowing the prosecution's witnesses to lie on the witness stand. To which the judge responded, quote, "I don't know how many times I have to say this, but if you're not going to behave, you're not going to be here," end quote.
Daddy's home.
And honestly, I read in the newspaper, it was almost like I'm protecting him in his own trial because he's screwing this up for himself.
Yep.
And because of his outbursts and refusal to follow court rules, Judge Nakahara took Asmerom off his own case. He had made inappropriate remarks to the judge. He'd tried to intimidate a witness by yelling at them during questioning.
Jeez.
He lost his mind when he was denied a request to reopen questioning of a witness about a subject that was already covered. And while the jury is present, he shouts at the judge and the jury, quote, "I'm not getting a fair trial." He's working with the prosecution.
Oh, man.
"You're not a judge. I don't know how you became a judge. You don't even like telling people the truth," end quote.
Yeah. Jeez.
And it's at this point that Tewodros' attorney stands up and asks for a separate trial.
He was smart. We want nothing to do with this.
I don't know him. I want nothing to do with him.
Oh, man.
And while Asmerom continues to shout, quote, "I don't want to be here. It's against my principle. You can take me out. You can take me and put me in chains and take me out," end quote.
I think he's got a little bit of a mental problem. What do you think?
I think he thinks he's very self-important.
Yeah.
And he's used to just like bullying people and shoving through his opinion, and whatever he says is the law.
It's my way or the highway.
And guess what? You're in the United States, and it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, a guy named Daryl Stallworth is the lucky public defender who gets to take over as Asmerom's attorney.
Daryl, that morning when he found out he has to, defend this guy, he's going, "Oh, why didn't I become an architect?"
He's saying, "F my life," is what he's saying.
He's thinking,
it's exactly what he's saying.
Thinking back on all the bad mistakes he's made.
Then when Asmerom's on the witness stand, he says that hours before Abraham's death, he received a phone call from his brother Abraham, who revealed to him that one of his wife's brothers was gay.
He's really stuck on this whole thing.
Stuck on this whole gay thing because to him, it's a big deal. And to everybody else, nobody cares.
However, thou dost protest a bit too much.
Not that it matters.
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference.
But he's saying that Winta's brothers tried to kill him on Thanksgiving Day because he had found out about the truth about Abraham's death.
Right.
That somehow this gay brother was going to be outed.
Right.
In closing arguments, Deputy DA Joni Leventis basically says, "Look at this guy. You've seen how he's acted for 4 months. And while his claim is that he was lured to the apartment and then forced to defend himself, the truth is he would have killed them all, leaving 0 witnesses if Winta's brothers hadn't charged him and taken his guns."
Yeah.
Quote, "You've seen him up close and personal. His demeanor on the stand speaks volumes," end quote.
Wow.
The jury deliberated for, how long you think?
About 12 seconds.
7 days.
Really?
7 days.
What was, okay.
I think it had to do with the brother because they were being tried together.
Gotcha.
But Asmerom tries to talk to the judge once before the jury was escorted into the courtroom to read the verdict. He said he wanted to file a motion for a new attorney. So they're getting ready. I mean, he's waited 7 days while they've deliberated.
Right.
And I think he knows he's going to be guilty. And before the jury comes in and they give their verdict, he's yelling at the judge, I want to file a motion for a new attorney.
Okay.
Quote, I'm going to be convicted because I didn't get a fair trial, end quote.
No. Well, maybe he is a good lawyer. Oh, man.
And remember, I don't know if you remember, I said this, 10 women, 2 men. That's the jury.
Right.
And they came back with a verdict of guilty of the 14 charges against the 2 of them, killing 3, kidnapping 2-year-old Isaac, and attempted murder on the others. The jury found they were guilty of special circumstances in their crimes, killing multiple people, and killing during a kidnapping. And when the verdict is read, Asmerom is calm through the reading of the verdict. Tony Serra, Tewodros' attorney, says we'll be filing an appeal.
Right.
5 months later, both Asmerom and Tewodros are sentenced to 3 life sentences without the possibility of parole, and their sister shouts from the crowded courtroom, quote, I will get justice from God, end quote.
Okay.
Well, if your brother killed them, God's going to have something to say about it a little bit later on.
Yeah, I think that's already pretty well planned out. They
shipped them both off to jail. And then on September 4th, 2015, the California State Appeals Court tossed out Tewodros' conviction, the one who unlocked the door.
Right.
A 3-judge panel said he deserved a new trial. The judge in his trial admitted statements from a detective that undermined Tewodros' credibility. Remember, Detective James Morris said his statements, quote, didn't add up,
right.
unquote.
Right.
And the appeals court said, quote, a lay witness opinion about the truthfulness of another witness is irrelevant and inadmissible, end quote.
Really? Jeez.
So Tewodros did, in fact, get another trial.
Really?
Without his brother shouting over everybody the entire time.
Yeah.
And on April 4th, 2016, Judge Paul DeLuca sentenced him to 10 years for his part in the murders of Winta, Jonas, and Winta's mom. 10 years that he had already served. He was set free.
Wow.
As for Asmerom, he is serving his life sentences without parole in the San Quentin State Prison.
Wow.
Can't think of a better place for him.
Yeah, that's hardcore.
So what have we learned here? When the coroner says something, you should probably trust it.
Right.
Especially when you get a pathologist to confirm that.
Right.
And the life insurance company says that.
Right.
And the police say that.
Right.
Don't think you're smarter than everybody else. And don't act as your own attorney.
Wow.
But that is the story of Asmerom and Tewodros. That's all I have to say about that. For nearly 7 years, Jane Doe has lived in the shadows, her past buried deep beneath layers of secrecy and silence. After completing more than was asked of her in her last assignment for the enigmatic Kywolf project, Jane Doe vanished without a trace, leaving behind a trail of dead bodies and unanswered questions. But now, as the specter of her past returns with a vengeance, Jane finds herself thrust back into a world she thought she'd left behind forever. When her former sins come knocking on her door, Jane is faced with an impossible choice: continue to hide in the shadows, or once again take up arms against the forces that threaten to tear apart the fabric of society. With enemies lurking around every corner and allies who may not be what they seem, Jane must rely on her wits, training, and her unyielding determination to survive. And while trust is a luxury she cannot afford, Jane must confront the truth about herself and her past. As the clock ticks, she realizes that the line between family, friend, and foe are razor thin, and in the end, the only person she can rely on is herself. Jane Doe 4 Charlotte is available September 24th, 2024. No name, no regrets, no mercy.
It's hard to believe the arrogance and the stupidity of some people that they think that they're smarter than the rest of the world.
Yes. And the fact that, you have to know that DA, Joni, whatever her name was,
right,
was just sitting back like, just keep it coming. Just you're just digging your own hole, digging your own grave,
She's
mister.
Going, this is the easiest case I've ever
case? Yeah. The one who was like, F my life, I get this guy. She's sitting back going, all right.
Yeah, who's the real victim in this whole thing? It's his defense attorney.
It's his defense attorney and the judge who just got berated over and over and over again. Wow. You're not a real judge.
Well, the good news is that he's put away for life. And
he has been put away for life. The bad news is 3 lives were lost, and this little boy is an orphan. He does live with her family, her side of the family.
Good. Well, let's get away from those goofballs and go with these goofballs in a little Bless Your Heart.
Well, bless your heart.
All right, number 1, I'm calling door number 1 or door number 2?
I take door number 2.
Okay, the heist went exactly as planned. Overnight thieves drove a stolen van right through the front doors of a marijuana shop in Colorado Springs, grabbed as much pot as they possibly could carry, abandoned the van, and fled in a getaway vehicle, reports the Colorado Springs Gazette.
Ooh.
All right. The only hitch, though, you ready for this?
Yeah.
All the quote-unquote marijuana they grabbed was actually oregano. Says the owner of the Native Roots Dispensary.
How was it oregano?
Well, the still-at-large thieves, believed to be teenagers, grabbed all the stuff in the display cases, and those cases aren't containing the real thing.
That's too funny.
Had the thieves made it into a locked bud room, the story would have been completely different.
They can't get in the bud room.
Yep, they were caught and convicted.
That is hilarious. Bless their hearts. I wonder if they tried to smoke it. I'm just wondering. They tried to smoke the oregano.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
Probably on the way in the getaway car. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, number 2, the naked truth.
The naked truth.
Now, we've had a few of these before, but I kind of like this one.
Okay.
Police in Louisiana say a woman came home to discover a naked stranger in her tub eating her Cheetos.
I don't often soak in the tub, but when I do, I'm eating Cheetos.
Right. A Monroe police affidavit says 29-year-old Evelyn Washington was arrested on burglary and property damages charges. Okay. The Fort Worth Star-Telegram reports that Washington was, quote, caught orange-handed with nowhere to run, unquote, and that a responding officer found a, quote, tub full of water and a plate of food along with a half-eaten Cheetos belonging to the victim on the toilet next to the tub.
Oh, my gosh.
Unquote. Washington, here's the best. Talk about people just making excuses that they're the victim. Washington told the homeowner and police that an unknown male had told her to break into the house.
Somebody told her to do it.
Exactly. Police found a tall ice chest under a broken window. She was taken into custody.
Oh, she moved a cooler under a window and climbed in, huh?
Yep. Now, this the third and final one.
Okay.
Ready? I'm calling this...
Donuts.
Was that Homer Simpson?
It was Homer. Donuts and arrests appear to be totally linked in the life of North Carolina man Bradley Hardison.
Okay.
The 27-year-old who was arrested in 2014 after he won a donut eating contest at the Elizabeth City Police Department's National Night Out Against Crime event.
The police are having a donut eating contest.
It was great, wasn't it? That helped officers who'd been, seeking him in connection with 2 felony burglaries track him down.
Okay.
He's been charged with robbing a donut shop, the Virginian Pilot reports. Police in Elizabeth City say Hardison, who became champ by eating 8 glazed donuts in under 2 minutes, has been charged with offenses including felony breaking and entering and felony safe cracking in a connection with a burglary at where? A Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts.
In November. It's not clear whether Hardison helped himself to any donuts during the alleged crime.
You know, before I knew I had celiac disease and I could eat real donuts.
Yeah.
A Krispy Kreme, that's why I was thinking you could probably down a couple Krispy Kremes pretty quickly because they're, you know, they sort of, if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
they kind of melt in your mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Donuts.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Well, there's your
Lord.
bless your hearts.
Well, if you have a bless your heart or you know somebody's heart who needs blessing, all you got to do is go to hitchtohomicide.com. When you get there, you'll find a pull-down menu. While you're there, you can also suggest a case or tell us about your brush with true crime or your brush with donuts if you want.
Tell us your favorite donuts.
We hope everybody has a very, very safe and wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. If you live in the United States, happy Thanksgiving.
Yep.
That's my amazing husband out there.
And that's my beautiful bride in the booth.
Join us next time on Hitch to Homicide.
Bye, y'all.